Hi, welcome back to Saughland Farm. You're here with me in the middle of lambing at the minute. We're sort of halfway through, and the majority have already lambed. Behind me, we've got our A flock, and they are lambing away great. We're hardly assisted any. Yes, with the lush grass that's appeared, we've got a couple of hung lambs, but not a huge amount. At the minute, I'm maybe bringing in one or two a day, sort of thing. So we're not assisting a huge amount. They've been fairly good, but I think the weather is also helping that. I think it's been quite a few years we've been trying to breed a sheep that can withstand an outdoor lambing, easy lambing, and get on and do it itself really. And I think we're sort of finally getting there. They tend to lamb themselves. They tend to get up and soak themselves, and anything that needs assistance tends more to be something that's gotten a bit older, maybe our bag's a bit shot or something like that. With our A flock, they're all recorded from birth. We try not to make it too complicated, but at the same time we get the data we need. So I suppose it starts pre-lambing, and what we do then is we spray numbers on the side of all the sheep, so management numbers. That's then linked back into the computer system we use, so that come lambing time now, we'll be going round the field. When the lambs are born, we pick up the lambs. We then put an ear tag in the lamb, an EID tag, and we will weigh the lamb, and then we can use the management number on the mum to link it. We'll also add in a mother and instinct score to make sure they're good mothers, because that's very important for us. If lambs happen to be a problem and any of the animals or sheep need assistance, that sheep is then demoted into the B flock. The process to avoid any of these lambs ending up in the A flock system is they do not get a breeding tag, so they have no tags in their ears. So when they come through, we know fine well they've had a problem and they'll never be bred from. And if we did have a shortage of ewe lambs, we could then put them straight into a B flock, just to make sure we're only breeding from sheep that do it all themselves. Like everybody, we tend to get lambing losses, and especially in an outdoor system, if the weather changes, it can be pretty severe. This year, thankfully, it's been good, and I'm really pleased with how the years went. But what we do to try and keep track of this, and it helps us to guide our genetic lines and where we want to go with it. We will record every lamb that dies, and it's a simple tally of why that lamb died, and also how many lambs that the ewe was due to have. So it lets us know if twins are dying, if singles are dying, and we'll also split it up into things like triplets and singles and twins, so we can really look into each group of sheep. And then at the end of lambing, if there's something that seems off, we can then come together and work out what is wrong. Is it genetics? Is it feeding? Is there anything we can do to fix it in the future? Since collecting all this data, we've changed quite drastically. Probably the lambing losses data was probably the start of some severe changes. That along with scanning data. Our scanning wasn't good enough, and the lambing losses were too high. Now we identified that this was due to big lambs or lambs getting hung, and that was a breed change. It was nothing to do with the grass, and that was what drove us to go to the Romneys. And from there, I wouldn't say lamb weights have gotten down drastically, but I think the real problem with the previous breed was probably the pelvis size opposed to the actual lamb weights. So we now have Romneys, which will be lambing sheep twins at 5-6 kilos, some even 7, and lambing them themselves fine with no issue. So I do believe it's the pelvis size of these sheep that has helped that. There's various things we have tried over the years, and we did try to monitor tail length last year. So every lamb's tail was scored on a system of 1 to 5. The aim was to avoid ringing, essentially, and yes, there was genetic differences in them. How heritable they are, I don't know, but I think pretty severe. Looking at other breeds, like if you cross sheep with Shetlands, you'll see the tail length come straight through in that first cross. But the issue we had was to pick the tups to breed from. With the shorter tail lengths, we were compromising in that final growth, that finishing days to slaughter. So we weren't quite able to do it at the minute. Hopefully in the future it might come, but there's just not a big enough genetic variation in our flock and tail length at the minute. We're currently standing in one of my lambing fields. This field is split into 4 fields at the start of lambing. As lambing goes through sort of now, so 2 weeks through, we start to focus on Grass, and keeping grass quality, that's the next important thing. We want to keep the quality so the ewes are milking well. So at a certain point, when I feel like the lambs are old enough, I'll open up all the gates and mix the 4 paddocks. We don't tighten them up quite yet, but what we'll do is we'll then bring cows in or singles, and they will help to graze the 4 paddocks. So they'll graze one of the individual paddocks, shutting it, which will reset that paddock whilst the ewes have still got room to roam everywhere else. This just helps to maintain quality. On the flip side of that, the other thing we do, if we don't have enough cows calving, which we have this year, or the singles aren't ready, we'll shut up some paddocks. So because this field's normally 4, it's quite easy to shut up, say, a 3 hectare block for silage, and that's shut up now, and it'll make some real good quality silage, which saves us a fortune on cattle feeding in the winter for calves. So a big change this year is we decided to lamb the triplets outside. We've always kept the triplets and also the twin hogs inside, but really there was a few problems. One of the issues was watery mouth. It didn't matter how much disinfectant we put down. We tested colostrum quality, made sure the lambs were getting the right amount, the quality was good, but we still tended to get it. And the other problem was we needed someone on at nights because there was too many sheep in the shed. It may have just been the sheds were too tight, that could be the issue. So we decided to bite the bullet and kick the triplets and the twin hogs outside, and thankfully we've had a good year for it, but it's went really well and our losses have been minimal, and yeah, we would do that again. So the sheep are managing to lamb outside with their 3 and look after them, and then any that aren't going to do 3, that gets brought in and then they're put in a pet's pen. Lambing this year, so far so good. I don't want to speak too soon, but we're fairly well through and I'm pretty comfortable. It's went fairly well. It's been one of our better years, I would say. 1 down to the weather, and 2 down to, I think, the genetics are just coming right now. But a few things, I mean, there's 2 people, we're lambing the 1700 sheep between us, so we do all the lambing outside. We're also, half of them are recorded and everything is run at birth. On top of that, we have 2 people in the shed for a period of a week and then down to 1. So the labour requirements are really next to none, and we're not getting the losses. I think it's all down to the breed change and where we are with the genetics now is the key.